But now I'm going to play the power joker with a jet engine. Let me show you how much power one of those has got. Well, to find out how powerful a jet engine is, first you need a jet. Well, we've got one. Our plan is to drive a car behind the 747 when the engines are at full power. The question is, how far can the engines blow the car off course? It's not as easy as you might think. It's too dangerous to drive them under here, behind the engines. They have to be well clear. In fact, they have to be way back here, past the tail, and then a bit more. That's a good 50 yards behind the engines. Well, that was a modern, streamlined aerodynamic car. So let's have another go now and see what happens when we let loose the top gear crosswind on something a little more, well, slab-sided. A Citroën 2CV. Big engine, lightweight hippie car. This should be fun. Okay, here we go again. The engines are up to 58,000 pounds of thrust. The car is released. And 3, 2, whoa, Well, there you go, you see. Next time you're out, you think you might encounter crosswinds or have to drive behind a 747 at takeoff thrust, you're better off with them on Deo than a 2CV. It's a service we provide, this stuff, you know.
Now, the hazard to ground personnel, it starts from the moment that the engine starts spinning, right? When the engine starts passing about 20%, there's actually enough suction force in front of the engine to suck someone in and seriously harm them. When the pushback is finished, we will set the parking brake. We will verify both engines have been stabilized, that there's no faulty engine indications. We'll talk to the start leader. The start leader will disconnect any pushback truck that might have been needed. They will disconnect the headset and they will move away from the aircraft. And only when we see that they have moved away and that they hold up what we call a bypass pin, which is used to take away the hydraulic pressure from the nose wheel when they are being pushed back. When they do that, we know that we are now okay to start asking for taxi, right? But these procedures are enforced in order to make sure that everyone is clear, that it's perfectly safe to start the engines, and that we don't start taxiing before everyone has moved out of the way. So how far in front do you need to be in order to run a risk to be sucked into the engine then? So this means that if the engine is running and you run in closer than that, you run a risk of being sucked into the engine. There's also a hazard area about 2 meters behind the engine cowling. And that is because when the engine is sucking in air, it's not only sucking the air from the front, it's actually sucking from slight behind as well, so from the edges. And this means that if you are within 2 meters but behind the engine, you might still be sucked into the engine.